Hello everyone and welcome to All Things Watched. In this video we are going to talk about the brand new movie, which is actually a Netflix original movie, The Electric State. Now this movie was done by the Russo brothers, and from what I can tell it did appear to have some negativity online, but for me personally I was actually a pretty big fan. But before we jump into the review, if you don't mind clicking that subscribe button, I'd love to be able to reach 500 subscribers before the end of the summer, but you know, maybe that's an unrealistic dream or goal, you know, so if you want to help us get there, then go ahead and click that subscribe button. I got a bunch of new type of content coming very soon as well, which is pretty exciting, and all that good stuff. So anyways, The Electric State has a phenomenal cast. It mainly starred Chris Pratt, Millie Bobby Brown, Ke Huy Quan, Woody Harrelson, Woody Norman, Vince Pisani, I believe is how you pronounce his name. I apologize if I'm butchering it, and Russo, and Greg Cormer. Excuse me. I have a little bit of a cold, so I apologize in advance. But anyways, essentially what this movie is about is it's about this, I guess you could say, sort of dystopian future. There's a very big advancement in technology, and you have basically these giant robots, and it appears like this movie takes place after a war between robots and humanity, and it seems as though robots are sort of like the outcasts of the world now. I believe they do say in the movie that there were also some like a treaty or something signed where the robots get to live in their little section of the world as long as they don't really interfere with humanity and with the humans and all that sort of stuff. So of course, obviously, given that this is a movie, you know, there has to be a story with this movie. Obviously, there's going to be some interaction between the robots and the humans. So of course, we're following Chris Pratt and his character, and of course Millie Bobby Brown's character, and she portrays a character known as Michelle, and she has a brother, and I believe the brother's name was Christopher, who was portrayed by Woody Norman. And their relationship in this movie was phenomenal. It really was a brother and sister relationship. I thought both did a great job with their performances, and really at the core of this story, that is essentially what this movie is about. But I did also like that by the time we get to the end of the movie, it really does sort of question our humanity and how far are we willing to go to save the ones we love, or to not save the ones we love, in the sense of maybe sometimes to do the right thing we have to let go of the one thing that we love the most. And that is a very interesting concept, I think, that the Russos sort of put together here in this movie, and I just personally, for me, I really loved it. I thought the CGI was actually quite good, and after I seen the movie, I think I read somewhere that this budget was like $350 million or something, or $250 million to make, and after viewing the movie on Netflix, I can see why it was that expensive, because personally I thought the special effects were done very, very well. I watched this with my fiance, and she is, you know, she's not like a crazy sci-fi nut, but she can dabble with it, and she really enjoyed it. She loved sort of the family elements to it, but also the story. She loved seeing these big robots and whatnot, and you know, and she's very good with watching the movies. Like, she's sort of easy on them. She's not like me, like I'm always looking at everything, trying to pick it apart sometimes, but she's, you know, she just watches it as a casual viewer, where me, I'm more of like a diehard fan, so to speak. You know, I hear doing videos about movies and stuff, and so you know, it was really fun to watch it with her because she really, really enjoyed it, and that of course made me also really enjoy the experience as well, maybe a little bit more than what I would have potentially. But honestly, I thought this was a pretty solid movie. You know, the whole movie is really about Michelle and I believe his name was Keats, who's Chris Pratt's character, and essentially the story is about two characters trying to go from point A to point B, but having to go through, you know, different obstacles, and having to potentially even work with some of the robots in order to, you know, maybe to get to point B, and in order for Michelle to sort of try to find her brother Chris, who was, I don't know if we could go as far as saying abducted, but he sort of goes missing at a very young age, and she basically just doesn't give up on him, and she really wants him, really wants to find him, or at least find out if he's alive or if he's not alive. And she sort of gets pushed in this direction when she's approached by this robot who claims to you know, have some form of relationship with Chris or to be related to him, and so to speak. And that's really how far I'm going to go with that, because I don't want to spoil the movie for you. I don't want to ruin the movie. But that essentially is what the movie is about. It's about them. It's about her being pushed, you know, sort of in the direction of believing that her brother is still alive or still out there because of this robot. And then of course along the way she meets Chris Pratt's character and all that. Woody Harrelson actually voices one of the main robots, and as always Woody Harrelson does what Woody Harrelson does best. He gives an A performance. I thought all the performances in this movie was done really well. I don't really know why this movie had a lot of flack. You know, from what I could tell, it seemed like it had a lot of negativity, and really I don't know why. But I was very happy that the Russos were willing to take a chance to do something that's original. I haven't seen a movie like this before. Now actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I did read actually, and only like yesterday or the day before actually, I don't want to lie to you guys, I do remember reading now that this was based on a book. So the Russos never actually wrote the book, but they adapted it from the book. But now I have no experience. I'd never read the book. I'm only talking about The Electric State from what I've seen on Netflix. But either way, I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was a great movie. I thought it was a feel-good movie. I thought it had some phenomenal special effects, a great cast, a very heart-tugging story, and then like I said, when you get to the third and final act, sort of the conclusion of the movie, it really does sort of force you to wrestle with humanity. What would you do in this situation? Would you try to save the person that you love, or would you let your love go beyond your desire or your own personal wants? And would you be able to love somebody so much that you could let them go for the sake of the greater good, on their benefit, not for your benefit, but for their benefit, so to speak. And so I really love that that direction where the movie ends up going. And honestly, I thought they really hit the emotions well. And for me, I was a big fan of this movie. But so if I had to put a number on The Electric State, personally, I would give this like a 65, maybe even 70%. And I would totally watch a sequel. If they did a second movie, I would definitely be there. And I would also watch this again. You know, if there's someone who hasn't seen it before or something, I would have no problem sitting down and watching The Electric State again for a second time. So with that being said, folks, let me know in the comment section below if you've seen The Electric State, and if you liked it, tell me why or why not. If you like this video, click that subscribe button. Also like, and don't forget to leave a comment so we can have a conversation and talk about this movie down below and all that good stuff. And with that being said, folks, that's all I got for you for this one. So until the next video, take care.